All right, we're back. Disrupt Education. I got Shane Davis, Lloyd Yates here.
What's going on?
Thanks, gentlemen.
Appreciate you having us.
Appreciate it.
All right, so let's jump right in, man. Tell us a little bit about your journey from high school and what you're doing now. So, we'll start with you, man.
All right, so went to OPRF. I graduated in 2014, and immediately after high school, it was like school really wasn't my thing. Mm-hmm. So I did a network marketing company with this guy and many others, and it taught us so much. We were kind of successful in it, but we knew that we wanted to start our own thing after that. So after that died down, it was like I was asking all of my friends, like, yo, I want to do something, but I don't know what. And I just went around like everybody. Some people said no, he said yes, and we kind of took it from there. And I mean, I don't want to, if you want to talk about go from there.
No,
yeah, your path is a little different.
A little different, yeah, for sure. So went to Oak Park as well. Graduated in 15. Played on the football team. Was the quarterback, and I was fortunate enough to get a few scholarships. So I went to Northwestern on a football scholarship. So I knew, in growing up in my household, education is really like the thing. Like education is, to what my parents would say, is kind of what separates us, or what's the differentiator. So I always grew up around education. Went to Northwestern, and still wanted to do business. I knew I wanted to do something like Shane said, something that's different. So that's where we came up with the idea of Mogo. And what Mogo stands for is making our generation original. And we're doing that through competitive dance, essentially. So we've been working on Mogo for about 3 years. We've done a lot of iterations, and have grown a lot in the company. And it started off as pretty much a social network for dancers, where what we want to do is allow dancers to collaborate and dance with each other and find other dancer types similar to themselves, and essentially facilitate virtual dance battles. But after a few iterations, and what we've kind of evolved to now is talent management, because dancers are culture nowadays. They are trendsetters. They make songs go viral. Everybody admires their dances, but nobody wants to pay them. Right. So they're underrepresented, and we want to represent our own talent, and that's kind of where we evolved with Mogo.
Nice. What kind of things then have you learned from? There's 3 years into this. What were some of the things that you've learned through this?
Man, resilience. We got told no. We were just talking about this yesterday. We got told no so many times. Right. There was times we wanted to quit. Yeah. And just sticking through and just being each other's backbones, and kind of yo, we can get through this, and this, as soon as we get over this hump, it's going from there. So I would say resilience was one.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you? 3 years. What can you take from it?
A lot. I mean, it definitely, you've definitely learned that you can't do things by yourself. You definitely need the support of a great team. There's a couple others that aren't here right now, and great mentorship. We've been fortunate enough to have great mentors like yourself and other people. No, seriously. Yeah, and other folks at OPRF, and through there's this it's called the Garage at Northwestern. It's a business. It's the place for student entrepreneurs. So we've had great mentorship through the Garage that's been able to help scale our company to where we are, and it's not like we're anything great or spectacular, but that's we have no mind that's where we're gonna go. Right. And just to have that support system with us, and also just my background in sports through coaching and other mentorship through sports has been one of its own. So it's been a great journey so far.
What really intrigues me is that you both have very different from high school to now. Right?
Yeah.
How does that work? Is there any because you don't usually see that. But I think that kind of represents what your company is trying to push, right? It doesn't really matter where you get your learning from.
Yeah, 100%.
So what kind of challenges does that bring?
Well, for one, it's there's that. It's kind of like a long distance relationship, because we want to be together all the time, working on our venture, and it's just that barrier. We have another partner who's in Michigan at school. Right. He's in Oak Park. I'm in Evanston, so it's just kind of figuring out times where we always a few times a week are just on the phone for a couple hours, FaceTimes. Now recently, since things have been ever since June, things things have been really picking up for us. So we've been spending a lot more time together. He's been staying over my apartment in Evanston, and it's kind of just like
a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
we just need to be together working on it as much as we can.
Do you find like the way that you look at things in a different way because you're not in college? It brings an asset to you know. Are a lot of your clients going to college? Do they not go to college? I mean, it seems like you have those two lenses to me would be very key.
For sure.
I think neither one is better than the other, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, do you see things that he doesn't see, and in a college realm that he's at now, that at your age, okay, I'm going this path?
Yeah. One thing I would say is time.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in high school, when you're in college, it's like you think that, okay, I have these 4 years, and after these 4 years, then I can worry about the rest of my life. But it's like, when you're not in that situation, it's like the time is now.
Yeah.
So it's like just preaching that urgency, and like we have to get it now. We have to do this stuff now. Like sometimes he wants to go to bed, and it's like, no, we have to do this now. Those are some.
Why you always want to go to bed, man?
Long days.
Well, and I love this. I mean, you guys really are. Right before the interview, we were talking about the yin and yang, right? Like you guys do filter off of each other. You're almost in your other business partner. I'm sure you have different ways in. So let's go back to like your high school experiences, right? You know, you're both in small business management, which was great, and I do remember, like, you know, those projects and things that you did. But globally, like in a system, right? What kind of things would you do to change that system to make it better for not only yourself at that age, knowing what you know now, but for maybe even more people? What do you think?
I can take this one. I would say more like life skills, life coaches in high school, life classes, because for, you know, everyone, and, you know, I'm walking proof that, like, you know, schooling, you know, education is key, but schooling for some people isn't. You know, and I think just having people like, you know, great mentors like Steven Jackson is one mentor that really kind of like showed me the way of like, you can do it. You know, it's just like, all right, like, you know, like people have ideas, but we know when I'm talking to him about them, he's like, all right, so how you want to do it? You know, how do you want to tackle it? And it's more of like, oh, like, well, you know, I like, you tell me I can do this, you know, and it's just like that reassurance of like, just because you're not in school, or because school isn't your bad thing, we don't just send them upstairs to the 4th floor, or, you know, something like that, just kind of quarantine them, but like help them out, figure out what are they really talented at, what are they really good at, what do they want to do, instead of the things that they don't want to do.
Right.
So I would say more like life skills and learn about the real life.
Yeah, and just to back that up, I mean, school is not for everybody, unlike education. Just like disrupt education, it's different. Everybody comes from different walks of life. But going off that, there was a class I took my senior year. It was called like Life or something like that. I don't remember the exact name, but no, like it was a really cool class because we actually got to learn like what it takes to live on our own. Just like we just learned different skills and stuff like that, where it was actually something that could be applied to like my everyday life. And and like we were talking about earlier, just it's the school system is so geared on doing it a certain way, and it's kind of like that. We were just watching a TED Talk. It's kind of like that, like universally, and there's nothing wrong. Like everyone should have the basic fundamentals to be able to communicate and understand certain things. But there comes a point when it's like you're 16, 17, 18 years old, where maybe more like performance art should be taught. Like, why isn't, for example, dance taught at school? You know, why isn't that a required course? You know, like, you know, the music, writing, just stuff like that. Why isn't that? So,
or if they are, they're under the math, and you know, why aren't they at the top? So.
I mean, or, you know, just something like that should be like required just for everybody to dabble in everything, because you never know what you could learn in something new that you never thought you could have liked. So I think there should definitely be more classes like the life class I was talking about, more arts classes, artsy mandatory classes.
I'm going to ask you a final question, and if you could go back to your 16-year-old self, or in general, like what kind of advice would you give to a high school student right now, knowing where you are right now in your life and in your learning?
You want to take that first?
It's a curveball.
Man, I would once again I would go back with the time, and the time is always now, and just figuring out what you want to do at that moment, and don't push it aside of, because like when I was in high school, I'm worried about girls and friends and everything like that, but it's like I never thought about like, okay, well, when this is all said and done, you're the popular kid, you're the cool kid, whatever, but once you leave here, everyone else is going to disperse and you're going to be here, and it's like, what do you want to do? So I think thinking about what you're good at, what you want to spend the rest of your life doing, and not like going just the route that your parents want you to go, or that society try to make you go, but just honing into your own craft.
Nice.
And never giving up.
Yeah. Well said.
For sure. I don't know.
16-year-old Lloyd.
I don't know. I can talk that.
You just have to talk to you.
Right. It's funny that you kind of bring this up, because one thing I really like is the Players Tribune. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's just pretty much like successful athletes. They write a letter to the younger selves. So one that really stood out to me was Ray Allen. He wrote a letter to his like 16-year-old self or whatever, and he pretty much said like he has all the accolades that you could have, NBA championships, MVPs, etc. But he was just really like hone in and enjoy the journey, because like Kobe Bryant said the same thing, like the destination is the goal, but it's not everything. Like the journey is what makes the destination worth it. So I would definitely say, and one thing I took away from your class was you were saying if you had like all the money in the world, you wouldn't buy material things, you would buy experiences.
Right.
So that's kind of one thing we try and do a lot. We try and take like spontaneous trips to California, to Detroit. Like we just go places on weekends that we have, and just be really spontaneous and enjoy the journey. And to also, the last thing I would say to my 16-year-old self is don't be afraid, because like, I don't know, you're always concerned with what everybody else thinks, if everybody's judgmental. But I really, honestly, haven't gotten to a point until like this past June when we did the Summer Accelerator, to a point where it's like to not be afraid to express myself, express my opinions, what I'm doing, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Where can our viewers find Mogo? Where can they find him out there?
Yeah, please.
Your social medias. What is it?
Yeah, please follow us on Instagram at Mogo that. MOG. We do personalized merchandise. Reach out, everything. So
awesome.
It's been a pleasure.
I love your journeys, man. This is great. They're totally different, yet you guys are still working on kind of the same vision. I really appreciate it. That's how you really disrupt education.
You're trying.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it.
Lloyd, I called you Luke, man. I don't know. My mind's all over.
It's all good.
Blown.
Right.
Look, man, let's keep disrupting education. We appreciate you guys. I'll see you next time, Disruptors.